What up, y'all? I'm back with another review. I'm here to review this new album from Frank Ocean entitled Blonde, um, slash Boys Don't Cry, slash Endless. Now, this album, my goodness, from what I'm aware of, before I even listened to this album, going into it, I had heard this side of the album, not the visual album, but Endless being the visual album. This album is supposed to show you, well, express his sexual side. But when we get into the first track on here, which I'm not the biggest fan of, to be honest with you, and it's one of the very few tracks on here where I'm not the biggest fan of. It's Nike's. He is not really expressing his sexual side or his sexuality in general. It's more of him giving you what I hear is what's on the first album, well, the visual album, Endless, showing you more of a I don't want to say social community, but being more aware of and giving you more awareness of what's going on in the community. Even though we all know about the whole Trayvon Martin situation, he references that in this song in a very wavy way. But that's one of the very few tracks on here where I'm just can't get into it. And with this album, there's so much I have to say about this album, but it has to be said at the end. I have to go ahead and get some of these things out of the way first. Track number 2, Ivy. I was not messing with it at first, but it is one of my favorite tracks on here, along with Pink and White and Skyline 2. Those are tracks 3 and 6. Skyline 2 because it's so not different. Well, no, it is so different. It's one of the more upbeat songs on here, but it's not upbeat in any way. And with Pink and White, it's one of the most soulful without giving you the, how can I put this? Without tearing your heart out soulful. It's in a Frank Ocean way. I've seen the comparisons to this album in Anderson .Paak's Malibu album. Anderson .Paak and Malibu, which is one of my top 4 or 5 favorite projects of this year, is more upbeat. It's not to be said that it's not personal, but it's more upbeat. It's fast. It's fun. The difference is with this album is it's the complete opposite. Except it's still fun. It's just slow. It's way more emotional in the sense of you can find yourself looking like the album cover of Blonde. You just be like this the whole time. I wouldn't cry. I don't know how others feel, but I could be like that more than I could with Anderson .Paak's Malibu album. Other tracks on here that I really mess with, Good Guy, even though it's one of the many 1 minute tracks on here. Nights is actually one of my favorite tracks on here as well, to be honest with you, because he said something on there. It really caught my ear. I need to go back and listen to this song again because this album, like I said, I have way more to say, but it has to be saved towards the end because I don't want to say it right in the middle of the review. And I'm not even really getting too deep into most of these songs, but the track that stood out to me the most was track number 10, Solo Reprise with Andre. And I guess with Andre 3000, you take what you can get, right? Andre is not the type to just be on anybody's song. He has to really like you or really see something in you to be on a track with you. This track being the one that stands out for me the most on this album is because it's just Andre. That's why I say I guess you take what you can get from him. Like if he just wants, whether it was designed that way by Frank and the team or if it's just Andre wanted it that way himself. He wanted a song by himself, I guess. But I guess you take what you can get. Frank wasn't featured on there, it was just Andre by himself. But it's Andre. Andre's top 10, some may even say top 5 of all time. If he wants a song by himself on your album, you give him the song. And that was one of the singles. I don't know if it was the only single, but one of the singles to promote this album. Andre said he wants to know if him and he's wondering if him and Big Boy worked too hard when they were a group. Well, that's complicated if they still are or not, but he wants to know if they worked too hard because his naivete had him believing that everyone wrote their own rhymes, and even back then, not everyone was writing their own rhymes, believe it or not. Even you can trash on hip hop as much as you want today, as much as you want to, but it's not like it wasn't some fake shit going on back in the day, in the golden era. Yes, they came out right in the middle of the golden era, back in 1994 with the Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, and released four classics in a row. But it's not like they weren't doing that in a time where it might have still been the golden era, but things that weren't as golden for hip hop were going on behind the scenes. Um, and that's with some of the biggest figures in hip hop. Eazy-E, Drake. I don't care if you don't like Drake or not. I'm not the biggest fan of Drake, but I can't deny he's one of the biggest. No, he might be the biggest icon of hip hop right now, and will go down as one of the biggest as far as success and just having control of the game. That's why this track stands out to me the most, because it's Andre by himself and what he said on here. Track number 11, Pretty Sweet. Well, this is corny to say, but it was a pretty sweet song. What can I say? Track number 12, Facebook Story. This felt like one of the most. It wasn't even a song. It's another one of those skits on here that's 1 minute, of course. And I felt like it was one of the most personal, because the guy is talking to his friend. He's talking about how this girl didn't believe a word he said, because not because he said over Facebook. I think it's what he said on there, and she didn't believe him. I think he said that she thought he was cheating on him, and he didn't know how to take it, so he just talked to his friend about it. Track number 13, Close to You. That's another one of the tracks that I was not. That's one of the few tracks on here that not that I didn't like, but I had to go back and listen to that to appreciate that song. Because first I was like, what the hell's going on? But track number 14, White Ferrari, another song that I like. Track number 15, How to Siege Fried, another song that I really like. But the last two tracks on here, 16 and 17, Godspeed and Futura Free, that was more of the skits, actually. This last track, Futura Free, it's a long ass skit though, almost 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 24 seconds. It's just something about the skits on here that I don't mind, because I'm not the skit guy. I don't do albums that have skits like that. Whether it's the 1 minute skit or the like 20 to 30-second skit, a lot of these skits are pointless. Not on this album. And that's what makes this album unique to me, is because this is one of the things I mentioned where I had to say a lot. I have to say a lot about this in particular. These skits are not pointless. These skits have something to say in them. I feel like I'm kind of seeing or hearing the visual album endless without seeing it or hearing it. So these skits are not pointless, and that's what makes this album unique to me, at least, because the skits aren't getting on my nerves. I'm not skipping them. I'm actually listening to them. I feel like I'm, like I said, seeing a movie. The hell is that? But I'm seeing a movie or listening to a movie without seeing it in the first place, but I can still picture it in my mind. That's what makes this album unique. And when you say this album is overhyped, sorry about that. Yes, because it's not necessarily blowing my mind, but it's unique in the sense that I will keep going back to the songs and listen to this whole album, even track for track, with the two songs I don't necessarily fuck with. It's unique in that way, but it's not overhyped, because it's yes and no with the overhyped thing, because it's not blowing my mind. Not like Malibu did, but it's also not making me say I can't go back and listen to this to see what the big deal is. I'm seeing the big deal. I'm seeing how this album is different, and that's what makes it unique. That's what makes it not overhyped. This album is what 808s and Heartbreak is supposed to be, but without the 808s. I mean, the heartbreak's there, the love's there at the same time, the healing's there at the same time. But this album is what 808s and Heartbreak is supposed to be, or what people say it is or should be right now, as far as impact and sound for me. Really, for sound, it's for me, because 808s is that album that I go back and listen to where I just need to be inspired to be very experimental. This album is going to be in that catalog as well. But I put it in the 808. Well, I put it in the same sense as 808s, as it's better than 808s. I'd rather listen to this than 808s. But it also depends on the mood I'm in. But the main reason I say this is what 808s and Heartbreak is supposed to sound like is not just because of the impact, but because of the sound. The sounds on 808s did not blow me away. They made me like this album. Made me say it's not all that what people are making it out to be for me, but it's not like it's trash. It's not like I'm not going back to listen to the whole album again and again. But like I said, this album is 808s and Heartbreak is supposed to be this. It's like 808s and Heartbreak, but it's more enjoyable for me. But it still has that experimentation on it, where it's like, okay, you can see the love for it, but you can't really get into the hype. You can't overhype it yourself. You just can't fall into the trap. But you can't necessarily say it's trash with 808s and Heartbreak, both those albums. You can't say the trash. What you can say is that you see the love for it, though. With this album, though, I have to say, for a rating, I'm not too sure. I want to give it an 8, but it's not there for me. Like I said, I can't just go right into it and say, damn, it's an 8, because an 8 means I really fuck with the project. I mean, I fuck with this project, but I don't really fuck with it heavy. This is my 4th time listening to it before I reviewed this, and I have to give this 7.5 to an 8. And with the grade of, well, the rating of 7.5 to an 8, but the grade of a B minus to a B, because it wouldn't be right to give this a C or a C plus, because that would mean the C grade is so like, oh, it's just average, but it has a little more. No. This is on another level as far as sound and experimentation. And with the skits, that's another thing I wanted to say. The skits, they're not pointless to me. I feel like I'm seeing and hearing the visual album. I didn't just listen to this album. I experienced this album. Skits having a big part to do with that, but also just the sound and the mood that it is right now around here in Central Virginia, being the first day of fall too. It sounds like it's not really something for the fall, but it doesn't necessarily not fit the feel of what it's feeling like around here right now. Plus the social commentary that is on here, the exploration of not just Frank exploring who he is because he knows who he is, but you get to find out who he is, being the gay, well, don't even want to say gay, the homosexual R&B singer. So for that, I have to give this a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. But I also have to give this, because I always give the score and the grade as well, 7.5 to a 10, 7.5 to an 8 out of 10, and a B minus to a B. And if you've heard this project, you probably have, because I'm late as hell. This album came out a little over a month ago, just a little bit, and I'm just now getting to it. Shit came up, but still, I like this project. Would I buy it? Yes, I would buy this. I would buy this, and it's unique in that way to where I would buy the physical copy. I'm not sure if there are physical copies or not, but still, if you've heard this project, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Also, what you think about my review on it. Be sure to hit the like button if you like this review. Share the review. Subscribe if you're new. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, AudioMax, SoundCloud, Instagram, and hit up my email for anything that you might need as far as business. You know, you need your music chopped and screwed, reviewed, beats made, or you want to be featured on one of my upcoming DJ mixtapes. Thank you for watching. Listen to this project if you haven't heard it already. And even if you have heard the project already, go back and listen to it. I think that's what I'm about to go do. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.